All right, so this is absolute value functions, and so you should know the pattern for an absolute value function. I have it right here, right? Y equals m times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. And honestly, in the beginning here, we're only going to deal with a slope of 1, so you don't have to worry about m. All right, but here's the key. When you look at the absolute value function, you should be able to read the vertex. And the vertex is the values of h and k. H is the x-coordinate of the vertex, and k is the y-coordinate of the vertex. And the other thing you must always remember is, what is the shape of an absolute value function? Whoops, that's good. Let's get that back. What is the shape of an absolute value function? And I hope you are thinking a V shape. That's important. You got to expect that. Okay. So let's do a couple here. So we look at our first example, y plus 2 equals the absolute value of x. All right, it's not in the correct form yet. I need to isolate the y. Oh, it's going to be a pain today. I need to isolate my y, right? So I'm simply going to add a negative 2 to both sides. And I will end up with y equals the absolute value of x minus 2. Now, can you read the vertex, h and k? All right. Don't make this hard. The vertex is going to have an x-coordinate of 0. See, we don't bother to write x minus 0, right? I mean, this would be the exact same thing, but it's too boring to write. It has no meaning to it, right? We don't bother to write that 0. And the k is clearly what? Negative 2. Okay, that's our vertex. That's the first point you want to plot. So I go to 0, negative 2, and I plot that point. Now I'm expecting a V shape, so I'm going to use an XY chart. Now, I already have 0, so I'm going to go 1 point to the right. I'm going to use a 1, right? I'm going 1 point to the right of my vertex. Okay, so sub in 1 into the function. So it's the absolute value of x minus 2, so it's the absolute value of 1 minus 2. The absolute value of 1 is 1. 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. So I have the point 1, negative 1 right there. Again, notice I told you these all have 1 slopes. And I already know this right-hand side now is like this because I know that's the vertex. Okay, I'm going to go 1 point to the left of my vertex, right? And so I'm going to use negative 1. Again, I'm going to sub it in. The absolute value of negative 1 now. Minus 2. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. Positive 1 and negative 2 is, again, a negative 1. And I have the point right here. And now I know I have a straight line from my vertex the other way. There's the other half. There's my V shape. There's my graph. Okay? So if you know what you're doing, not very hard. Let's do one more. So this one trips up students. So I always ask them first off for the vertex, right? Let me reveal our Cartesian plane. So what's the vertex? So again, just be careful here. It's not in the reading form yet. So what is the vertex? I'm going to take some space here. Well, it's negative 3, 1. You say, Mr. Scarfi, how is that? Well, again, let me put it in the proper form, right? That's proper form, right? Notice the h comes after the negative. So it must have been a negative 3 to have that positive there. Okay, so plot negative 3, 1. Again, XY chart. I need a point to the right, so I'm going to use negative 2. And let me go up here for my function, y equals x plus 3 plus 1, and I'm going to stick in a negative 2. All right, the absolute value of 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So I get the point negative 2, 2. Okay, and I know this one goes off like that. And now I'm going to go 1 to the right. I'm going to use negative 4. So if I put negative 4 in here, negative 4 plus 3 is a negative 1, but the absolute value of negative 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Hey, look, there's the other side of my V, and that's absolute value. Expect a V shape, know how to read the vertex, and it gets easy from there.